Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 37. This is a laid-back Sunday in New Zealand. It will be probably evening in USA and early morning in UK. So I'll just do the usual checks and cue some music. Be with you in a minute. Hope everyone's been good and well. And of course, we've got some UFO news to present. And we'll just have a look about, probably talk about some other stuff as well. So we'll just kill the music. That noise cancellation is crazy. When it doesn't mix it properly, does it? The music. Maybe there's a different way I can do it without using Minicam software. Play music or another player, perhaps. But that's all right. It'll do. We do well with the free bits. I don't know if anyone's joining me tonight. Who's out there? or watching their Saturday or Sunday movies, perhaps, or outside watching, looking for UFOs. So just open up some web pages. I was going to start earlier, but I was just too tired. Everyone seems to be too tired lately. No one's sleeping very well. First of all, I'll talk about some Secureteam 10 stuff again. Let's see, I got the sound muted, I think. So the first news is that's come out is Streetcap1 has died, and it's been confirmed. He disappeared a couple of months ago. Everybody was wondering why he had stopped putting out his fake UFO videos. Perhaps he had a change of heart, but no. It's more like the heart had stopped, not a change of heart. So it's a bit sad news for his family, but really it's good news for the UFO real community, people that wanted to get rid of the noise that he put out. Not too sure what parts. Tyler, who was the guy that sort of aided the guy promoting his videos so he could use them. So he's saying there passed away. But apparently the news was posted on his official Facebook page. You'd think he would be looking at his Facebook page and seeing if the family posted a rest in peace message, wouldn't you? Now, I've only done one video on Streetcap, I think. I might have done bits and pieces of debunking his videos over the other periods, but I only did one big one. I normally do one big one talking about a channel that's putting out a load of BS in the UFO community. And apparently that's a post there, but he's blocked out his last name there. So, of course, he's sad that he's gone because he used to get videos from him and they used to cross-promote. But as I said, if you ever want to check out someone, always use Google. So what's the things that you normally do is you type in, if you know the person's name. In this case, we didn't know what Streetcap's name was because he hid it. He didn't come out and say my name is such and such. So you just type in a name of the channel or the handle he goes by. Talk about hoaxer or fraud. And we've got 2,500 pages where those two words appear on pages. and he's even featured in Snopes here. Hoax. He was really good for making lens flare UFOs on NASA feed. They were often easy to debunk because the pattern would repeat every sunset and sunrise, and it would appear to be going away and coming back again. So I did a video on that as well, on lens flare UFOs. I think I may have put it in that particular episode where I debunk them, but I think I did one particularly for lens flare as well. So debunked again, YouTube. I want to find one that's on YouTube. You can see there's a lot of chat. Reddit is a good place to always check out. These people seem to have their head screwed on mostly, and the moderators of it. And you can see here, the Mirror UK is once again creating publicity for hoax channel Streetcap1. If you see an article posted around with the title UFO seen at space station leads to conspiracy claims ISS monitored by aliens, please don't reward them with page views or shares. So what year was that posted? I've only been doing my channel for 2 years, and this is going back 3 years. And yeah. So that's looks like it's posted by UFO Theatre. I'm not too sure if we can search Reddit directly. We probably can. You might have to log in or create an account though. Back to top. How do we get to the main page? UFOs. There's also a good list that is available online called the UFO Blacklist. You can also check out and read that. It gets updated. Apparently, there's quite a lot of UFO hoax channels out there that share and reshare the same old rubbish. They don't debunk stuff on their channel. As normally sticks out. They don't put up anything that's been listed as unknown by MUFON. So if you get a regular Sky Watcher, it's always putting up stuff. If they've not submitted anything for MUFON and got it as a proof that, look, MUFON couldn't detect what it was either, means it's a bit iffy, those channels. So if we go to UFO Blacklist, if you type in UFO Blacklist, there might be even a few out there now by now. You always get UFO Theatre's one. I'll post it down the side. Unfortunately, UFO Theatre is very busy with his main job in computer graphics for commercial TV in USA. So he hasn't got much time at the moment for keeping the list up to date and keeping an eye on what's going on. Let's see if we can scale the font up a bit. And you can see there's quite a bit in here. You may notice some of the names. Look Now TV. So I'll just post that link in the side here and just scroll through the list. Normally the list is, he normally verifies it with other main debunkers out there that debunk stuff properly. Mick West and Scott Brando, to name a couple. So here we go. Some of these are actually paranormal channels as well, by the looks of it, and conspiracy channels. This is a new one that's come onto the scene. All awesome. Similar in method to Hoax Channel Section 51. Awesome finds background footage and adds a CGI spaceship and lights over top. I thought they also borrowed other people's videos. And when they got exposed, a YouTuber unhappy by attempting to extort them with a false copyright claims. That's what you get all the time when you expose people, as you probably well know. UFO community is really messed up. Let's keep going through the list here. So he's even listed John Austin here from the Express UK, because he's been promoting all the hoaxes from these large channels. So he profits from it as well with a partnership. And you can see here he's listed Streetcap1, Secureteam, Mr. Enigma, Scott C. Warren. And the list gets on going and going. So, like I said, Look Now TV, although they recently started putting more effort into their videos, they're still bad and technically unconvincing. Early attempts at making clear close-up hoaxes have failed. A lot of these I don't even know about. I just focus on the main MUFON stuff and the main big channels and viral videos myself. But these little channels get bigger and bigger. They collect more followers. And eventually there'll be like another Secureteam 10 or Third Phase. The Brewery Planet X 2016. I think that one's, yeah, Dazza the cameraman is big on to that one. Section 51's got a big write-up, and so has Secureteam 10. Tyler Klockner. Originally, this channel simply used deceptive interpretations of footage and some silly Photoshop work. And of course, it also did leaker voices, as I've pointed out, but eventually grew its viewership with significant help from pretend journalist John Austin. Yeah. And there's Streetcat1 listed here. although he's got the name wrong. His first name's Graham. With the last one, I mentioned it in that episode I did, but I won't mention it here. But we weren't really sure. I just tried to connect the dots at the time. But it doesn't really matter what his name is anymore. A lot of people thought he might have been Russian, living in Scotland, because he featured on Russian TV a bit. That turns out they've got a Russian news team that lives, they're sort of located in Scotland. And I suppose they go around UK and get UK news and give it to Russia. And don't know if there's any other ones here that you might know. Some of the channels probably don't exist anymore. UFO Today features nearly 100% stolen content, including documentaries, hoaxes, and misrepresented footage, and all videos to have been downloaded from YouTube and manipulated. And what else we got here? So like I said, he hasn't updated his stuff because he's busy with his normal job. UFO Mania, another robot voice channel full of fake news. Although I wouldn't say it was 100% fake, they do have like probably 1 or 2% that's actually actual news. The rest of it's rubbish. They've put up a few videos, not knowing that they're actually April Fool's jokes as well. And UFOs and aliens are yet another garbage trove of viral hoaxes stolen from around YouTube. Walton Charles Walton. Mr. Walton, a fan of Donald Trump. Includes various government conspiracy theories, including UFOs. So I guess that's one of his latest add-ons, Scott C. Warren. Has it got that guy that they call the balloon summoner? What's his name? Robert Bingham. Is it Bingham up here? Probably doesn't have him. Didn't see it. Wonder why he hasn't got him listed. What's his channel called though? Probably his real name, probably. Anyway, so that's one way to check out, see if someone's actually on his channel. Is always check out that list there. And of course, doing searches. And you can see there was a few pages on Streetcap. But the other way is to search on their name or try different things. Streetcap. We've got hoaxer. Say fraud. See if it finds anything. And we got 7,000 results with that one. So 4 hasn't included it. You've got to make sure it includes fraud. So you've got to click on that. That'll narrow it down probably. It's dropped it down a wee bit. 6,900. Staggering claims of buildings on moon. So it's sort of linking various words in a sentence which don't necessarily say he's a fraud, but if you read the stuff, you'll see that their claims are often debunked as hogwash. Anyway, I wonder why people haven't put that he's died yet. Maybe it's slow getting around. So he's been dead for 2 months. That's because he was very private about his name. So the other way to check is also if they keep putting up stuff, but none of it's been verified by MUFON, is unknown. This sort of should give you some suspicion straight away, because if you get sightings all the time, there's no reason why you can't take part of that footage and submit it to MUFON, even though they get full copyright of it. You still got the full footage. They can verify it, analyze your claims, come out to your property, get all the results. Now, we've had this sort of discussion before about Mojo, why he didn't release it because it was on his property. And but there's no reason why he couldn't submit it to MUFON to have some trained investigators go out there on foot, to get it through MUFON. Instead, Mojo went and contacted Dr. Greer, which everybody knows in the real UFO field is a fraud, and not to give him any airtime anymore. Now, he may have started out with good intentions, but now it's all about money. So, yeah. And then so he had some guy from Greer's team come out to visit him, but that doesn't go into the normal open channel of MUFON. And now, if MUFON saw some really good footage and they verified it and couldn't debunk it, of course they're going to present it at their headquarters for presentation and put it in their magazine and all sorts. So they can sort of make money from it. But if they ain't got the full footage, that means that you can still sell the footage once it's been verified to newspapers and whatnot, so you can make money from it too. But people that obviously don't want to make any money from the UFO stuff will openly give it away anyway. So the other one to do is the full name. So if you type in Tyler if it comes up in the search. Tyler net worth, is he that famous? I think there's a actor. That's probably why that comes up. His name is actually Tyler T. But if you type in hoax or hoaxer, let's see, already it's come up serial hoaxer as a suggestion. So obviously it's been searched for, so it comes up by Google. And straight away we got 7,600 results. I thought Lions Ground deleted all his stuff. he didn't want to be a hater. He wants to build his channel up, so he got rid of all his stuff on Tyler. But it looks like he hasn't cleaned up his posts to it. It used to go to his website, I guess. I think the entry's been deleted. It's not looking good. To me, if you debunk someone, then remove all your links to it, saying that you want to be friends with him again, suggests fraud activity to me. I don't know what you think. That's acceptable. There you go. Error 401. So he's cleaned up. So there's a few of us still keeping on with the truth out there. And you can see here in the first page, these like some of the biggest, most watched stories that Google obviously gets a lot of clicks on. So again, we've got Reddit here, which is always a good source of information. And a lot of people that joined his channel way after this particular video came out, and you can see it looks so fake. It's laughable. But people still believe it, you know, a bit of airbrushing and Photoshop to make it look like it's coming out of a cloud. I don't think it was even a video, was it? It was just like snapshots, photographs. So yeah, that one still going around. Has total hoax. Now, some claim to have seen cube UFOs, but you got to remember that we've looked in the past that you can actually buy fairly large Milo balloons that blow up to a black or various colors actually to a cube shape. So if one of those got released from a party, obviously people are going to see a cube floating through the sky. So you always got to question what you're seeing, especially if it's drifting with the wind current. A lot of these videos, we never know which way the current's going. And that's where the proper analysis comes in by people like MUFON. They look at where the wind direction was that day, where the sighting was. So for investigating a sighting, as you know, it's quite involved. And what you get is crazy trolls, of course, attacking you whenever you expose them. Doesn't matter who they are. If they put up a channel and start putting up garbage, polluting the UFO field with more nonsense, eventually it's going to get noticed. So I probably should do a summary on that. Let's see. Should make a list. I need to open up the photo editor thing. I mean the graphic editor. Where is it? It's funny how I can never see it. I should add a link to the desktop here. Have I got one? Probably not. I will create one, I think. Oh, here we go. See if I can drag it here. What happened to it? Oh, here it goes. Thought it disappeared on us. I'll put it under there. I'll open it up. Draw a list. Now, a lot of people say that entertainment. I normally answer that, though, is if you had someone on TV saying that they have sex, say, with Trump all the time, and everyone thinks it's funny, you know, every week comes out with a different person, and they think it's entertainment, but really it's just destroying those people that they're claiming they're having sex with. You see that happening in the news all the time. It's the same in the UFO field. If you've got someone that's constantly putting out conspiracies that are not really conspiracies, and taking IFOs and claiming it's UFOs. As you know, that 95% of sightings are mundane stuff, just everyday objects, natural. It's the 5% that's very hard to get on camera. As you know, most people don't film them, and simply having lights in the sky that can be anything natural doesn't sort of help the UFO community whatsoever. So I'll just write a head in here. Actually, I'll make it bigger. Too big. Fun. Here we go. Still too big, though. Oop, I didn't really want it italics, though. Underline. I thought I hit underline. Bold. So I need size from there. So one. Channel name with hoaxer. fraud. Google the keywords, probably person's name. And if no video on channel confirmed. Has done that. So yeah, and the main debunkers on them. Make it smaller again to fit more on. Main debunker group, so that would be Scott Brando. Oh, actually, I'll just put in UFO and interest. Debunk. Best. Also, sometimes you get them open minds. So talks about it, people. Expected UFO folks, UFO researchers. What was the other thing? It's probably something else on this stuff. So speaking of which, today came out a very interesting one. So I can get it open up. From Richard Dolan. He's a very respected UFO researcher. He hasn't got a big following, as you might expect, because he calls out fakes and fantasies whenever he talks about stuff. I'll just get the link for it. He normally backs up his stuff with facts and stuff he finds in his research. So I've got the link here. I'll just get the share link for it though. And I'll post it down the side so you can watch it. I think it's about 30 minutes long. I'm doing it on the other screen. I'll post it across in a minute though. So here we go. Just make sure it's the right one. Looks like it's I'm assuming from where I watched. But So he's got here Richard Dolan live, the faker phenomenon in ufology. Looks like he hasn't turned off his side chat either, which is quite good because you can read what people have been saying as well. I'll just say Richard Dolan frauds. He's to make sure he doesn't get into a sort of a troll war. Damn, he's not working. He didn't mention any names. He talked generally about it. So that's why I sort of tying it all together today about fake channels, because this came out a couple of days ago. Richard is one of the world's leading researchers and writers on the subject of UFOs. Not too sure how many books he's got. He must have a few out by now. So he's worth having a listen to. He also did one on fake news, which is also about Alex Jones being taken down. I'm not sure if I mentioned it before. He started doing videos once a week now, by the looks of it. Where was the other one? I can't remember what it was called now. Sounds like my dog's seen a cat out the window. There's a few guests on, by the looks of it. Linda Moulton Howe. Don't know why he associates with Linda Moulton Howe, though. I find her a bit of a fantasy land woman, which she got caught out on this Dragon UFO one. Why can't I see the video when you want to look at? Of course, it's small font here because I'm on a small screen, though. That one sounds like could be interesting to watch. UFO encounters with the world. I'll post his main link there anyway. Intelligent disclosure. I don't know if he's taken down that video now. I would doubt it. He may have unlisted it. Got too much attention, maybe. I can't see it. Some people just go crazy and troll endlessly if they don't agree with something. People lose their minds. Let's see if we can search for it then. I thought it was called censorship or something like that. Which is going to affect all UFO channels eventually. Everybody on the web. Oh, here we go. The new censorship. That's what it's called. So he hasn't unlisted it 2 weeks ago. Wonder why I couldn't see it. So that's how you search it. You use the little search thing next to the belt thing. So on censorship there's an interesting listen. It can affect us all eventually. So if you're not sub to him and watch out for his next live stream. You're more likely to see it than I am because these people come on when I'm sleeping. So yeah. So on to the next video anyway. That's how you can check out people anyway. Always do the research. Just don't take their word for it. Doesn't matter if it's politics or UFOs or whatever. Always check out the other side. So on to the next topic. He put out a UFO video. This one here I didn't bother with. Impossible footprints found 2 miles down. I think it's at the bottom of the ocean floor. Of course, it could have been maybe a piece of land that's sunk 2 miles down. Who knows? We don't know what these footprints are. Clearly, you can see the quality is not going to be terribly great. We can have a quick look at it. Again, you'd probably want to search and find the original document about it all. So it could easily be like it was dinosaur footprints even, I guess, in mud, and it just sets. Could there be a some creature in the deep that has feet that walks along the bottom of the sea? These footprints in mud? Well, possible. The thing is, how would they be able to walk though? Because they'd be so buoyant. So where's the picture? Yeah, it doesn't look like there's much on it apart from this here. Has he listed his source? Don't be silly. Oh yeah, he has. Footprint, imprint study. So anyone out there want to have a chat on the side? What kind of site's that? And with lots of ads and pop-ups. Looks like it's German. So they're saying it's some type of dolphin, and the marks are flippers. He didn't include that in his video, did he? Because it then sort of ruins it a bit, I suppose. Hang on, did he include it? Let's just carry on and see if he included it. Of course, what is it? Only 2% of the world's oceans have been studied or searched. Of course, there's going to be a lot of unknown creatures out there. So if I'm playing that, yeah, I am. So is he going to tell us it could be a large creature? Blah, 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 blah. Well, at least it's not a 20-foot humanoid footprint. Proven giants. So he hasn't really said anything about that creature. So he's making up his own story as he goes, huh? Can't see it on the thumbnails. What's that one? Slow. Right. Back to that picture again about UFOs. So he's trying to mix UFOs in with it. That was debunked as a blimp that they launch from submarines to use for target practice to calibrate their deck guns. I don't know why he keeps using that. It just makes him look silly. Oh well, now he's talking about rocks moving on the sea surface. You know, if you see the currents down there and how the shipwreck, like the Titanic, moved. If you watch that, even that show about the USO, what is it called now? Cooper's Treasure. You can see how far the shipwrecks moved when they were trying to pin where all the gold might be. They move for miles, and sometimes they go off that ledge into the real deep. And only a submarine can get down that far. But there was that mystery about the rocks moving in the desert. They found when it rained a wee bit, it caused a bit of a sludge on the top, and they used to have a lot of winds that sort of gust through the valley there and pushes even the very largest rocks along on the surface. So that one's been debunked as well. And they duplicated it. They went out to the surface off the lake, salt lake, I guess it is, or dried lake bed, add some water to it, and they blew it along with a big fan. Can't remember what debunked channel that was. It might have been Fact or Fake Paranormal. Was it on that one? Could have been on that one, something like that. So yeah, I wasn't really going to look at that video, but anyway, that's just the extra one to throw in. So it's this one here, I think. No, it wasn't this one. This one's about a metal fragment found where the what's it called? Diota Pass incident. It doesn't even say in the title here. Those guys that mysteriously got killed. We've talked about that in the past as well on remote viewing. They did a remote viewing on it, and they said it was a military experiment that went wrong, explosion or something. So could the metal fragment be from that explosion? And it sort of matches what Diota Pass. I'll probably have to listen, see how it's said again. So that's a piece of metal they found. It looks very man-made to me. Probably turned out to be something that blew off a shed in a village or something, you know. So we got it might have been this one. No, that's the cloud one we looked at a few days back. So I think it was on this one here that I'm trying to get to. Now here he's talking about, again, world weather disasters, natural disasters, earthquake booms, blah, blah, blah. Here you go. I'll probably just make this one a wee bit bigger. Ring of fire, earthquake. Volcanoes. You can see it's got a sort of a clickbait hidden. So what happened 65 times in just 48 hours? 48 world disasters? I don't know. The sea going out because the moon's closer to the earth. Or gravitational pull. Sinkholes. Oh, we know about sinkholes and flooding. A lot of the flooding's man-made, isn't it? They cut down all the trees, and so you haven't got the roots of the trees holding the side of the mountain banks on anymore. As soon as you get a lot of rain, if it's like loose soil on the top, down she comes. Or clay. Sinkholes are the same. A lot of places in America actually have limestone underground. And of course, water seeps from the top layer and gradually creates caves underneath where people have built their houses and then roads, and then it just sinks into the ground. Here we go. This is a silly video. So this is the one I want to show. And you tell me if you think it's a fake. I'll zoom in as much as possible. Just remember though, it's really hard to see fine filament. You can get really fine filament now, which is really hard to pick up even on closer up view on the cameras. So here we go. And you can see it sort of has a swing motion to it. It's not a bug because it doesn't change shape. Look at that. You can see it sort of bobbing left and right. You can see it's hanging on something there. And it sips off. Crazy. Casey putting that up on your channel. How to make yourself look an idiot. So I had a look, I took one frame, had a look, see if I could notice any strings. And I've got the image here. I wasn't going to spend much time on it because you can see by the motion that it's on a string. And took this frame here where it's like the closest one. where it was bobbing back and forth here. And I noticed that when I enhanced it, almost seems like a piece of string, black string maybe, that's cutting through this direction here. See that? It's very hard to even see it on HD camera. And the thing is, the object's also out of focus. You can see the leaves are not in focus. That aids in the deception. But that was a quick analysis here, and you can see a line going in here, black line, and it does look like something there that's the light's sort of been disturbed going through here. It looks like a black line going across here, so that's why I drew that in. And when it sips off, obviously he pulls this side of the string here, and it zooms off the screen when you saw it zoom off. And it looks like it's just like a cotton bud of wool. Is that how you call them in America? Cotton wool. So yeah, I think not many people were impressed with that one at the end here. I think if you go to his channel, there'll probably be a few comments if they haven't been deleted. So let's have a look. Don't know if anyone else has noticed possible string. What is it? I don't know if you've ever seen the Kevlar UFOs that you can buy for magic tricks. See, a lot of hoaxers are good magicians as well, a lot of them. I bet Billy Meyer was good one-handed tricks, probably card tricks even. But if you Google here, UFO toy, magic trick maybe, it shows how it can be done. Would be that one. I'll have a look through the list. UFO floating saucer trick, Christmas. Of course, these come from Hong Kong, and it uses, like I said, it uses black Kevlar. No, it's not that one. I actually got that one of those, and I demonstrated it. My one's faulty. Those ones looks like he's modified it. Those ones use LED sensors, proximity sensors, so you can wave your hand and it moves towards where your hand is. I'm just trying to find the one that I'm talking about that's using the string. Chinese often put up videos to demonstrate the toys you can get. This could be it. See here. That's using the same technique that we just saw in the last video. These guys practice with it a bit by the looks of it. I think Chinese have ripped it off, and you can buy it for $1, and it's rubbish. And you actually have to assemble it yourself. But you can see here, if we can get a still of it, you can't see any string. There's another demonstration video that I saw a year ago. See if I can find it. This one might be it. The same guy by the looks of it. 2011 they've been around. I'll post the link down the side so you can have a watch of this. I think this is the one. He uses a thick string to start with, so you can see how it's done. So when you see UFO videos, you've got to keep an eye on illusions like this. So I want to skim that one because it goes on a bit more. So where's my cursor gone? There it comes. So he's hooking up the cable to it. And it's a black piece of cable. I think he's putting a thick one on so you can see it. If I got the right video. Yeah, he's putting a really thick one on. It's Kevlar, and you can get it in different colors, obviously. The black's the best one for doing illusions, especially outside. So he's putting up the blue cable on so you can see it better. So it hooks onto your ear, you see. So you're spinning it around while you're filming it. So it's hooked up to his ear, and he's just using his hand, moving it up and down towards his body to make it go up and down. It's that simple. And when you throw it to someone, it flips off your ear, goes through the ear like a normal spinning disc. But if you go to AliExpress, you can actually find cheap versions of it. I'm not sure if you can find the proper brand that he's using. He's probably got some links where you can buy it from. It doesn't look like it. He's got the thick cable on again. Shows you how easy it is. Of course, there's a way to do it with horizontal string as well, which is what Billy Meyer did. But this one here clearly is using combination, maybe. We don't know if it's one continuous shot. And you can see it's very hard to see any cable going to it. You can only do it with extreme zooming and color enhancements to try and pick up. And of course, you're only going to pick it up on certain frames as well, not all frames. So it even looks like there could be something running this way. So you could have a string going this way. Is that something going up here? And a string going this way. So he pulls it this way. Whoop, pulls it that direction when it zooms off the end. There's the bit where it zooms off. I'll just replay that again. So you can see it's bobbing around with the wind. Definitely pendulum. Most people thought it might have been a cotton bud on a... See, it zooms off there. So obviously he's got two cables on it. One to pull it sideways, one to dangle it. It's the same as that trick we just looked at anyway. So that one there is totally busted. Of course, the wind's obviously going to add something to it as well, to the motion, if it's a light piece of cotton. So yeah, what did the people say? Haven't read them for a couple of days. So all the believers first, I suppose. All the ones that have debunked it probably are way down the bottom. He would have grabbed it. So comments I saw on it may have got pushed downwards since. So is anyone sensible here? Come on, must be someone sensible. Someone that knows tricks. I know a few tricks myself, but I've got mates that are really big into it, and there's a few debunkers out there really big that I know also into it. So all the negative comments look like they've vanished to me. Great video. Yeah. It's not scrolling. Come on. Yeah, I don't know. I think someone mentioned it could be cotton. I'm not seeing it anymore. These people talk rubbish, don't they? It's kind of disheartening reading the comments. What do I want to say? I thought more people would be saying it was a string trick. Anyway, see if you can find the comments yourself. We're probably wasting enough time on that guy. And you wonder why people don't take UFO topic very seriously anymore. I notice he's not putting out many anymore as well. So they were a week apart, 1 week. So what does he do? Put 3 together or something? He's not putting out as much as he used to. He doesn't need to. He can put up anything that he sees as a news clip and make $1,000 from it. How come he doesn't go through MUFON cases like I do? That's a lot more work. Why doesn't he not do live? Why hasn't he not got people on his channel for doing interviews? You know, at least I've got some doing interviews. More have promised to come on once they're less busy. And you got to step up your game. You can't just keep putting up, stupid balls of cotton videos as UFOs or lens flare or whatever. So I don't know if Secure Third Phase have done anything recent. Better have a quick look while we're at it. But they've been putting up compilations and they've been plugging their new video 1st Earth Battalion. And I talked about that in some live streams back. Instead of watching their documentary, you can watch that really good 3-part, 3 hours long it is, from BBC, from the guy that actually kicked off the staring at the goats thing. The movie was based on this guy's research and book, and BBC did a 3-part documentary on it. What was it called now? Crazy Dictators or something? What was it called now? Did I bookmark it? I think you probably can search for it anyway. Find it on. It's one of my. I posted it in the links on one of the live streams I did. And men is. It's documentary is really good. It's still on YouTube. But if you go to the Wikipedia, it tells you the name, I think. So let's have a look. So I'll just recap this one in case people haven't heard about it. Basically, it's talking about how they try to experiment with the mind control brain waves to try and get a heart of a goat to stop and kill it. And they believe it happened just once. The movie is quite funny if you have not seen it. But here you go. It talks about Channel 4. What was it called now? Crazy Rulers of the World. So if you type that in, you can find some YouTubes on it. It's quite funny, really, because I mentioned this, and a day or so later, Third Phase come out advertising their documentary about it. Synchronicity. So here you go. Already we've got various people uploading it. So obviously this guy here has the full one, 57 minutes, but I think it's full of ads. You have to skim through the ads, which is silly. Here's another one. Looks like he may have taken out the ads. So yeah, I'll post that search inside, and you can go through the list yourself. What they call it, Pegasus or something like that, the 1st Battalion. Yeah, it's see if that works. It will have Australia in. For some reason, Google thinks I'm in Australia, not New Zealand, every time I do this live stream, so it's quite annoying. So what have we got here? Looks like we got some CGI spaceship here. This could be the most controversial video ever. So let's have a quick look at that one. What's it about? Oh, that's a compilation one. And you could bet they're trying to advertise their documentary. Are they partnered with Gaia or something? Because it's not an ad, it's embedded on the video. Looks like it's a clip from some sort of documentary they got copy off, is it? Anyway, it's a misleading title. They're just annoying. This is entertainment, I guess, but what do people say about it? Interesting. About Jesus Christ, by the looks of it. Yeah, they got rid of their radio show, have they? Too much work. So what's it about? UFOs in the Bible? Ancient aliens? Don't look that interesting. Okay. UFO directly into a fire tornado. Oh, this one here. Space Force. Getting ready for something. When I looked at this one, I've seen this before. Well, that's really good filming, mate. Why are you filming the cars? You got long exposure happening. And motion blur. But I know what this is. This looks like some sort of flares. But I believe it's on parachutes. Like skydivers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And another one starting up. I think that's the Golden Knight skydivers, I bet. I was going to see if I could find out information on this video and actually do a search. But if they got those glider parachutes, of course they can fly towards you and look like they're not dropping because the flares are attached to them. I don't think it's regular military flares. They only last about 20 seconds. In fact, I suspect they use bright LED simulated flares now for their skydives because it's probably less risky. So straight away, UFOs that are gradually moving downwards towards the ground in an urban setting. One person only films it. What's likely it's going to be aliens. Very, very little it's going to be aliens. Did anyone actually say on this one? I don't think Third Phase delete people's comments as much as Tyler does. Exactly, mate. Why doesn't anyone ever drive closer to the UFO? That's another thing that should be on that list. That should be suspect. Now, if you're a regular sky watcher, looks like we ain't got any room. But we could put it at the top here. What's going on? We'll click through this. So, Zero, do they ever jump into and drive towards? Terribly slow. If they're filming a UFO, they should be walking towards it. They're really scared, of course. But when UFO disappears, there's no reason why you can't walk to where it was to see if you can find any footprints. That was one of the questions I put towards Mojo. He said it was all swampland there. But if you're prepared, wouldn't you have waders and stuff to walk towards the UFO? I guess if it's in water, you want to prove it was in water, though, wouldn't you? You want to keep filming and say, here's all the water, that's why I can't get close to it. So, yeah, that's why I'm still 50-50 with the Mojo one I did. I don't know, these people, you follow these UFO channels, don't you get angry like I do? Unfortunately, not much happens in my skies. I can film planes landing all the time if you want to watch planes landing all the time. But I have to get a decent camera first that works at night time. Looks like America is where it all happens because I've got all these air bases everywhere. Do I have any UFOs were filmed in the past that turned out to be the stealth bomber? Quite a lot of them. All these triangle ones that they got, eventually they were identified as a secret military experiment. Great work, yeah. Need more info before determine if military in the area. Once this can be ruled out, we can speculate on UFO activity. Someone's got some brains there. Someone's saying not military, no. So how do you know? It does look a bit too low, but depending on the angle view of the camera, that could be far away in the distance. But to me, it looks like it was maybe a mile away in the video, and looked like skydivers coming down. But again, someone would have to check and see if the skydivers were around the area at the time. That's why you submit it to MUFON. That was in the list. You don't just simply wang it up on YouTube and try and make money off it. You simply submit it to MUFON, get it verified, and then you start promoting it, saying it's been verified by experts that it wasn't military or skydivers, nighttime skydivers. So this guy's saying it's military flares, but skydivers also use military flares, so it's a bit hard to tell. Military training exercise, but do they know for real? In Australia, we call those fireworks. So there's a lot of skeptics here that haven't had their comments deleted, which is good to see. Don't think there's anything else worth looking at on their channel in recent days. How are we going for time? So yeah. So they're talking about the hurricane that hit the island and Project Pegasus, DARPA Inside Speaks. I think that's advertising their movie. First Battalion, I think. Was it Pegasus? Oh no, that was one I talked about a couple of streams back. And that was with the Andrew guy. Talking about time travel, the one I talked about time travel. There's claiming that's him in the photo from, what is it? Independence Day or something? No. Some battle, maybe? I don't know. Can't remember now. Does it look like someone that's from modern times back in the past? Blurry. Looks like he's got old-fashioned boots on there to me. Similar to their boots. similar haircut styles. Looks like it. Looks like they got guns, is it? Where was that now? Doesn't make sense why he'd think that would be him. What's his name? Andrew Bass something. Let's say down here. Bass Sago. Is that how you say his name? Yeah, we covered that in the previous live anyway. It's funny, they come out a day or two after I did my live about it, which is quite interesting. Makes you wonder if they're watching my live presentations and getting ideas. So yeah, that's enough of them, I guess. So I'm open to any other topic that anyone wants to submit down the side. I see there's a couple of people watching. Lurkers. I thought I might have heard from TRC today and Jamal, because he normally shows up on Sundays. It's near midnight though. So I was going to maybe talk more on the atom as well. There's something I forgot to mention last one. And that's not typed very well, is it? Ever. I should save that anyway. That's a good list. But if you watch that Richard Dolan thing, he says pretty much the same I do. Always have a critical mind. So we want to create a new thing. That'll probably do. So we talked about the atom, and what I forgot to talk about was particles. And they say that the nucleus and electrons are like little spheres, but I think we've proven that's not the case. They're like fuzzy objects. There's a good one. And they show it always like spheres that sort of stuck together by what do you call it? Strong nuclear forces inside the atom, and that's why if they shoot a neutron, because it's meant to have no charge, and they can fire it until it hits the center, and when it breaks that nucleus apart, it releases great energy as what we call atomic bomb. So obviously you can see most of the space around the atom is the electron electron orbits. And it doesn't go like this in the diagram. It goes all in a undetermined path pretty much. And they think it shares electrons with the next atom next door to it, which sort of holds different elements together, which makes us up. We're called carbon life forms. So what we could do is, that also brings us the question why aliens would look like us. What humans need of. Oh, we'll try that. So here we go. This is what we consist of. Almost 99% of the mass of the human body is made up of 6 elements: oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus. Only about 0.85% is composed of other 5 elements: potassium, sulfur, sodium chloride, and magnesium. Well, sodium chloride is salt. So that's pretty depressing. They were just a grouping of a few atoms. And see if we can get a chart that's actually clear. And that one's not very clear, is it? Carbon is 18%. Have we got a better photograph? That one looks quite good if we can get it big. That's talking about the calories to drive our human body, which is quite interesting. I assume that's daily intake, is it? How many calories is that a human? It won't quite tell us because I haven't got a thing. I was trying to find the atoms. And perhaps I can go to that web page here then. But that sort of brings me to the other topic that I was talking about. How could aliens pass through glass or levitate a person through the roof if they've made up these particles called atoms? And that's because what we think is an atom is not what they're telling us. So that's the best we got. It comes from Wikipedia. So it was 18%. Oxygen 65. That's quite a lot. But I guess the hydrogen is water, isn't it? Combined with oxygen. So really, if it's 65% oxygen and carbon, that's almost good for burning, like a log on fire. Human combustion. But where's the water fitting? I thought it was something like 80% of our body was water. But that's 10. I guess that doesn't sort of make what is it, H2O? So it should be 2 oxygens for every hydrogen. So that should be 30%, I would have thought. add them together is 75%. So that would be double that. Should be 20% of oxygen. Should be water connected to the water. So at least 45% must be just normal oxygen then. And what's this one here say? Other trace elements. Well, our body uses metals, as you can see, iodine. And that's why you get multivitamins with a lot of these silicon. You get a lot of these chemicals in the vitamin pill that are body nickel, cobalt, zinc, gold even there. Gold, silver. So that's so it doesn't seem that you need that many chemicals to make a living being. So those would be the elements you want to look on other planets, obviously. So what we want to know is, so I got sidetracked on humans. That's interesting. What is carbon? Oop. What's it? Not working. Carbon life form. Yeah, you heard that on sci-fi as well. Carbon forms the key component for all known life on Earth. Complex molecules are made out of carbon bonded with other elements, especially oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen. And carbon is able to bond with all these because of its 4 valence electrons. Carbon is abundant on Earth, so that makes sense. So planets are going to have a lot of carbon on them. Humans, carbon-based life forms. Carbon-based double bonds, on the other hand, form naturally and easily and are crucial for every living organism on Earth. If there were to be silicon-based life forms, which is the other one over here, the sheer chemistry of their atoms means that they would have to be built along very different lines to life on Earth. So if you look at abduction accounts, though, they talk about being insect-like and grey skin, but could that be their clothing is grey? And it makes sense, really, because they talk about big eyes, and if you look at an insect, they have big eyes. So that brings us, why do insects? I think it's all connected, and you got to look at Mother Nature and see how things develop on Earth to know what to expect and could exist in the universe. Big eyes. Insect eyes are mostly solid and made up of many individual parts. An insect eye has a sort of bumpy appearance. Some insects have over 40,000 individual units to a single eye, which is why it's called a compound eye. They use pigments traveling up and down inside the eye to regulate how the light gets in. Why do flies have such big eyes? It probably talks about the same thing. So if we get a picture of what people claim to be abductions, I've sort of gone away from Atom a bit at the moment. So we got mantis, and one's a mantis alien. Some pictures up. Of course, it's going to connect to sci-fi's looks of it. So where's a good mantis one? Oh, here's one someone's drawn from Abduction, insectoid aliens they call them. And again, they have really skinny limbs, but they haven't drawn what their hands look like. Now, I'm pretty sure if you saw that in your bedroom when you woke up, they'd scare the crap out of you. So it makes sense that they would try and produce a robot or humanoid hybrid of themselves to look more like us. But it makes sense because look at all the insects that we have on our planet. Of course, the difference here is these don't have the exoskeleton. They have an internal skeleton like us. So they're sort of like a cross between an insect and a standard humanoid or well, animal creature that we have on Earth here with a skeleton inside. Because that's always been the problem is why can't you scale up an ant? So if we go back to that, so it all sort of links, doesn't it? Why? Why can't ants be big? Everything. The size limitation of ants has to do with them having a exoskeleton, which is what I was saying. So that there's a limit as to how large they could get and still get oxygen into the body through their, how do you say that one, cytonius exterior. They love their big words. How strong would an ant be if he was as big as a human? Extremely strong and fast, although estimates vary. The average ant can carry 10 to 50 times its own body weight and run approximately 300 meters an hour, a rate of nearly 300 times its body length a minute. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? Imagine if that also brings up the question: why couldn't a insect that small be an intelligent life form and also be from outer space or another planet, but has actually colonized on our planet, and we see it as an insect, and it could be actually an alien life form. If they had the same DNA, you wouldn't know really, because that's how they compare it stuff now, isn't it, with DNA? And we sort of get all those movies with ants, all those classic sci-fis. And of course, we know, was it cockroach has been around for millions of years, so maybe cockroaches are aliens. How long has cockroaches been around? Been on Earth? Try that one. You can see it saves a lot of typing. Predicts what you're going to ask because other people ask the same thing. So they reckon they've been around for 300 million years. So that would put it in the age of the dinosaurs quite easily. There you go. If if I bothered reading it. It says that they've been around a long time, at least 300 million years, which means they were thriving when the dinosaurs roamed Earth. Also said may very well outlive humans because of their heartiness. Apparently you can cut off their heads and they still live for a week or something. Can a cockroach survive a nuclear winter? And they found one in 100 million year old amber, which is like the sap that comes out of trees, and it gets fossilized inside, and they can carbon date it and sort of work out. See if we can get a picture of it. So there we go, prehistoric cockroach. So the cockroach, though, it doesn't really look like a cockroach, but they do have wings and they do fly. In Australia, they have quite a few of them, and they fly in and land on your back as you're walking into your house, and you don't even know they're on you. I was trying to play some music or something, a video. So yeah, so you sort of jump from one thing to another there. So what's the other ones? Alien greys, they have big eyes too. So the question is, do you spell it grey with E or grey with A? Well, let's try it both ways and see what comes up. Because apparently you can use either spelling. I think one might be UK, one might be US. See, it comes up with the same images. So here we got alien greys. And they all got big eyes like a fly. That one's pretty scary looking. Where was it? That one there. If you had woke up with that staring at you, you'd want to shoot it in the head, wouldn't you? Now, see if we can get a ducty drawing of it. It makes sense that the alien grey could be some genetic modified version of the mantis. Or they could be like insects that developed with an internal skeleton, so external skeleton, but also developed the big eyes, same as insects would. And maybe they can see into ultraviolet as well as infrared ranges, just like some of our cameras can do. So these are some of the drawings, I guess. I find that the kids' drawings are quite interesting when you get kids that draw aliens. Let's see if we can find some kid ones. The kid drawings. And here we got some drawings. So here we go. That one looks like it could be a mantis. See, notice they draw it with 6 limbs. How many limbs do an insect have? They have 6, don't they? And that one's part bird. We don't know how old the kids are when they drew them. Some of them pretty skilled here. But you got the big almond eyes that you get on flies. And these ones are strange. Could they be hybrids where they're trying to cross human DNA with their own? Yeah, talk about medical experiments on them. So that's also the other question: are aliens evil or good? If they're doing experiments and abducting you, surely how could that be a good experience? And they also talked about having rooms where they present images of what we're doing to planet Earth with some of the stories. Destroying it with nuclear bombs and air pollution and whatnot. Because our planet might be so unique in the universe. They might be, if they've explored the universe before us, they might know all about the universe, and that planets are pretty rare to have life on it, and they might be one of maybe 1,000 planets in the whole universe, and they're trying to maybe warn us to protect our Earth because it will die if we don't. Of course, the other theory is that Earth is part of their existence as well. So if Earth got destroyed, it could also impact on the rest of the universe. It's also like quantum entanglement concepts. So yeah, as you see, there's a lot of drawings. Here's one that looks like a wafer biscuit. Flying triangle, is it? Yeah, it looks like a flying triangle. But you can see how big that one is. They talked about some of these triangles being really, really big. You see the creatures and portholes at the top here. Light source underneath. I was talking about anti-gravity on the last stream. And I still think maybe some of these are human reversed engineered ones. Some of them might be alien. I've had one person in New Zealand say they saw one sort of hanging above the road, and they said it was massive. But I've only heard one story. I have actually got some PDFs that I was meant to be working through on New Zealand cases. I only got to the 1950s. It's in an episode if you've not seen it. I present the 1950s to 60s ones. So yeah. So what is an eye of a fly? Look at close up. From anyone out there that wants to talk to on the site or say hello? You want to ask a question? Go ahead. So we got some images here of a human, of a earthling fly, not an alien fly. Looks like they got little hairs in between the lenses as well. Wonder why that is. To clean it, maybe. Like we have whiskers. Or to protect it somehow. Could be. The hairs would fend it off a wee bit. Creepy looking. You ever seen the Fly movie? That was one of my favourite ones. Especially the early black and white one. What's that guy's name? Jeff Goldblum. He was pretty good in the remake. Not a lot of people liked it though for some reason. So here's an ant, there's a bee. And you can see it's got similar eye to a fly. You can see it's even got little bacteria on it, or mites on the eye there. But you can see it's got a like an armored shell on the outside. So this goes to show when the right size, they're powerful and strong compared to the size. But if you scale them up, the energy to move the limbs and also to absorb enough oxygen to drive it all is impossible. Like that's probably lucky for us, as we might have human-sized ants that we have to fight off all the time or something. Humans would be wiped out quite easily, I guess. Hey, look at that one. Creepy crawlies. Certainly as scary as alien greys, I guess, in a way, and mantis. So could they be aliens on our planet and we don't know about it? Of course, that I reckon it's made by God, but a lot of theories out there say that a lot of the bacteria and stuff in the atmosphere floats up into outer space and gradually drifts out into space. And as we know, that bacteria is very resilient and could quite easily go through space and populate other planets. That's if it's not too hostile and it's got the right chemicals, obviously, to survive, and oxygen levels. So that brings us to the other question is, I don't know if you ever watched that program called BBC Horizon Connections. Bert, I think his name was. It was a science show I used to watch. He used to do similar to what I'm doing here, is link one thing to another, and like an invention, like a LCD screen. He'd link all the components in it and how many human minds it took to actually invent an LCD screen. By the time you get to the end, is like 10,000 experts all had their part to play in the development of the technology in 150 years, sort of thing. It's quite amazing, really. But far this Earth's sphere. Okay. Let's try that. See, I think people don't know how far the Earth's atmosphere goes, but they're saying here about 300 miles or 400 kilometers thick, but most of it's within the 10 kilometers. What's this popping up? Any strange pop-ups? Are we still working? Yep. I'll just check something. Yeah, so anybody out there watching, give me a tinkle on the side there. We got some negative commenter on one of my videos, even though it was debunked and proven, backed up by MUFON. Anyway, doesn't matter. So many people, idiots out there. Anyway, atmosphere, panspermia, you've probably heard about. This is what I'm talking about. Each planet can seed other planets in the solar system and then branch out, also to float through space and bump into meteorites and other comets and go through off out into another part of the solar system. So that one that popped into our solar system, the cigar-shaped one. Not sure if I got an image of it. Cigar-shaped. Was it a comet or meteorite? Let's see if we can find it. This one here with the images. Talking about this one here. So that they reckon that come from out of nowhere from another solar system. And we've got a path of it here. This is from another solar system. So it's got a long orbit. So if we had microbes that connected to that one, then it sort of blew off when it passed another clump of solar system. It could easily drift and seed other planets, you see. So we might be aliens ourselves. You know, they talk about us having alien DNA. So we could have been seeded from another planet through such a meteorite that come into our solar system like this. Maybe it was even this one. Unfortunately, they didn't have any cameras in space because it moved too quickly, and all they got was a fuzzy sort of image, and they could estimate it by using radio telescopes, what shape it was, by bouncing signals off it. Is that another one looking at the path? Not sure if it's that one or another one. Yeah, it's not that one. But you get what I mean. So there's definitely going to be other life out there. So panspermia was, let's say here, from ancient Greek, meaning all, meaning seed or seed. There's hypothesis that life exists throughout the universe, distributed by space dust, meteorites, asteroids, comets, planetoids, and also by spacecraft carrying unintended contamination by microorganisms. So that sort to me makes sense, and that sort of backs up the claim that there could easily be life throughout our galaxy, let alone universe. So what's the temperature linking from that? What's temperatures? Do microorganisms live? I think they found some survived in freezing cold temperatures, below 0 degrees even. Can't really see a pic I want. survive, really. There we go. Let's go back. Just have a quick look at my channel again. I did an episode called They Live Among Us, which was talking about the insects that I was just talking about, but I'm sort of expanding on it now. But I was talking about even smaller creatures that live on us and around us, not just normal insects. So that's my current live plan. Wonder what happened if I click on it. I haven't actually tried that before. So we got 4 people watching. And no one's upvoted me. Why is that? Come on, people. Add some comments. Talk to me. You know, I talk about cool stuff. So, yeah, if you find that one on life, yeah, it's quite a fun episode. Yeah, it's far away though. That one there is also interesting. What is God? If you've not watched it, I talk about Big Bang and stuff on that one. And God and what aliens are to religious people. How they read it in their holy books, so to speak. And the percentage of them that believe in UFOs and some that don't. Where's the alien creature one? Looks like it's got hung up. What's that one? There it is, the mantis head. This one, Aliens Among Us. Be warned, it'll make you itchy. See if I've pasted it right. Yeah, so I sort of touched on that subject before. So where was I? Talking about temperatures that can survive. So it's talking about a particular bacteria here, is it? Not sure what that is. Can survive and reproduce at 122 Cs. Mesophile is an organism that grows best in moderate temperature, neither too hot nor too cold, between 20 and 40 degrees. That's not really what I want. How do microbes survive extreme conditions? Well, that one might be interesting. Let's have a look. It's midnight already. When did I start? At 10 o'clock, wasn't it? So I've been down 2 hours already. So what are they saying here? Glaciers, mountains, deep oceans. So what's it saying here? Including bacteria, algae, and yeast, as well as glacier worms, plants, and animals. These organisms survive at a temperature usually lower than 5 degrees, and they can continue their natural lives like other organisms. Well, I'm pretty sure they've found even ones in boiling water. I think that was the 122 degrees Celsius one, was it? Thermophiles. Proteins are critical biological macromolecules in other organisms and microorganisms. Function in many cellular mechanisms in the body, acting as the key molecules. Most important feature of proteins is their structural parameters. So it says here, microorganisms living at temperatures higher than 100 C at large depths in seas are endowed with thermophile proteins, and those who live in glaciers have psychrophile proteins within their body. These proteins are responsible for the adaptation mechanisms to the environment. So normally if you throw something in boiling water, it gets cooked, doesn't it? So that's the difference of protein structures. So it's all about proteins, what it looks like. But we've heard about also frogs that were fossilized frogs in stones. When they cracked open, when you wet them, they come back to life or something. I still remember reading something about that as well. Frog and stone. It makes you wonder if they can sort of shut down the whole cell structures. Creatures and not need the use of oxygen. I don't remember a story. I don't know if it was fact or fiction. It was in one of my old books. Frog I want. Damn, Key. Our Key's playing up really bad. The Frog and Stone skipped all, so it looks like someone may have debunked that one. And live frogs and toads found encased in solid rock. What year did they debunk it, if they debunked it? In 1865 it was found, was it? Block of magnesium limestone taken from 20 feet underground, England. Everything was no larger than its body and presented the appearance of being a cast of it. Its eyes shone with unusual brilliance, and it was full of volatility on its liberation. So, saying it sort of come alive. Barking noise. So is that another fake tale? Around the same time, an article in Scientific American related to how a silver miner named Moses Keynes found a toad inside a 2-foot diameter boulder. This article stated that the toad was 3 inches long and very plump and fat. The eyes were the size of a silver cent piece. Same size. They tried to make him hop or jump by touching him with a stick, but he paid no attention. A later article in Scientific American, many were authenticated stories of finding of life toads and frogs in solid rock on record. So they're saying it's true. So stranger things in real life then. South African, 1876, timberman cutting a tree into planks. Deep inside, a hole was found containing 68 small toads, each about the size of a grape. Were healthy, hopping about. So it looks like they went to deep sleep almost. So maybe one day they're about to figure it out for humans, or genetic modify humans so they can sort of hibernate, send them out into space. So I don't know whether that story is true or not. What's this guy saying? It's funny how we went from atoms to frogs. But anyway, it's all interesting. So where's it talk about? There are 2 types of dormancy into which some animals enter to survive extreme conditions. Hibernation, which happens during a cold winter, and estivation, a way of surviving a hot, dry summer. Both techniques involve a slowing of the metabolism or metabolic rate, where breathing and heartbeat slow down. The purpose of dormancy is to minimize the consumption of resources. These resources include both animals' internal fuel stores and oxygen. I think oxygen would have been the main one. The purpose of hibernation is to escape the need to burn too much fuel to stay alive during cold spells. Unfortunately, us humans can't do that. And then we're talking about these ones that have internal antifreeze. Now, you heard about winter moths. You know, people said in winter I film these orbs flying around the security camera turn out to be winter moths or insects that have antifreeze in their blood, same as what you put in a car to stop it icing over. And they're quite happy to fly around in 0 degrees temperatures or even below. Now, I've seen it on some of these survival shows where a river's dried out and it looks like there's no life, and then it fills up with a rainstorm, and then suddenly you see little fish flying around, floating around, and all happy as anything, and probably toads as well. So I don't know if that's hibernation through eggs or through other means, and they're stored under the mud somehow. I guess it could be a bit of both. So that wasn't really skeptical at all. It's often been pointed out to that astronomers who spend more time looking at the sky than the average person also report far fewer UFOs because they actually know what they're looking at. We see a similar effect with entombed frogs. In all of the many reports, not one comes from a trained pathologist or field geologist who spend far more time carefully chipping away at rocks and paying attention to what they're doing. So he is a bit skeptical. So you really want to find one where they can put it under proper examination, I guess, before you crack open a rock. But it sounds like they're not very easy found. So, yeah. So I was talking about the atom anyway. Get back to the atom. I was going to draw it. So we've got an atom, what they claim is made of protons. Need to draw several of them. Plus, sort of sticking together. Inside. With electrons. Why is it not working? Electrons sort of in a fuzzy field on the outside here. But they don't crash into the nucleus. They bounce around, but they call it electron shell. But they always draw it as spheres, you know, and they don't really know, as we found out in the last thing, what an atom looks like, because they can only probe it with an electron, and they've got to break through this electron field and bounce off internal. It's not possible. They can bounce off molecules and a cluster of atoms, of course. So it's hard to believe that we're sort of made up of these things. And I think instead of looking at it as a, let's wipe it here. Let's undo it. Instead of looking at it as a sphere, I draw a three-dimensional one. So if we look at it currently as a sphere like this, you've got a proton, it's called a neutron. It's neutral charge. Now, they found that they can fire neutrons, a beam of neutrons, into an atom and cause it to collide with this nucleus and cause atomic bombs. But they always draw it as a sphere, but we don't know it's a sphere. And I say it's probably a fractal energy ball. All these things here are like, and because of a fractal that can move anti-clockwise and clockwise, it can move different, move in a different way to this other one here. This one might be moving in a way that it's sort of like a neutral movement, but this one here might be spinning around. So if that one's, you can imagine it being like a ball of energy, and also the neutron is a ball of energy, but it's got a different motion. Like its motion might be not spinning, so it may be just it's a bit hard to explain it. But if you imagine that atoms themselves all made up of energy, of these different energy particles, and even an electron, which they also represent as a sphere, but a smaller version, probably too big, to make it too fat. Like that. They always represent it as particles on their charts. And of course the neutron is negative. So this is let's say it's got a positive. So what makes it want to cling to a zero? Doesn't make sense, does it? You'd think the other one would be negative, so they'd sort of be attracted together. So I think the term, when they use term positive and negative, it's just a representation, but really we're talking about the energy spinning in a sort of like an internal vortex in itself, which attracts the other particle to it, but doesn't. But because it is its own type of form of energy, it doesn't sort of merge in with it. It sort of clings around. So you can see why it's all sort of confusing. So you got the electron. Of course, we know we also got the thing called a photon. So this was me trying to wrap my head around it all. Could science be wrong? Could there be another way of looking at it? So we got a photon, which is also said to be a wave light or particle, just to confuse it. And it always confuses people. Now, I'm not too sure if it's bigger or smaller. I think it's bigger than an electron, if I remember right from yesterday, because you can't use a photon of light to look at an atom. Instead they use electron microscope to look at substances. But again, photon is a strange one, and if we go to what I said in a previous video, what was it now? I think it was in the Tesla one. I talked about it being a donut shape instead, that is actually spinning around internally like a frequency of wave and passing through. So a wave is like, damn it, it's a bit complicated to explain it. Well, we know a wave is like a sine wave like that. But if you've got a donut shape, and I don't know if I've got a donut. Why haven't I got a toroid, whatever it's called, donut? That looks like a bullseye target. Need some more icons. How can you draw a donut? Because you can only draw it with a circle. Probably best to draw it by hand, but yeah, if a proton's actually, damn it, I need the other pen. If it's actually a donut, the energy is rotating around inside of it like this on the outside around the donut. So it's got a frequency. So it's also a particle as well as a frequency. So when you start to think of these as not actually being particles like marbles, but actually fuzzy fractals, then you can start to think that it's possible to pass through a solid. And we found out in one of the older live streams that there's actually a real science called quantum tunneling, where a solid object can pass through a thin membrane to the other outside. I think we were trying to find an experiment where it shows it, but if you have a look at fractal I don't know, energy. Fractals all around us, how mountains form, how blood vessels form, how leaves form on a tree. It's everywhere. So here's some pictures of fractals. So there's a good one. Fractal energy cannon. So instead of imagine an atom as actually a sphere, we could imagine it as sort of crazy stuff like this. If that makes sense. If anyone's out there, like to chip in, add their bit to it. So we're used to these fractal patterns here, where if you keep going into it, it repeats the same pattern forever, infinity downwards. If you play around with computer programming, a lot of people play around with fractal maths, and even lightning is fractal, and Tesla's lightning thing produces fractal energy. So really, a solid's really energy. We're just energy, and if you can get somehow the energy to resonate or oscillate at a frequency, there's no reason why you couldn't pass through a solid brick wall. It's just a different way of thinking about stuff, you know. So what they're doing at CERN is they're like taking a car and sending a cannonball towards it and smashing it apart, and they're picking up bits of blinker and side mirror and saying, oh, that's a new particle, or that one we've got before, and they start giving it a label. That's how I see it. But really, when they talk about antimatter, really what happens is if it crashes into an atom, it quite easily change how it spins. So they might get a negative proton, right? And if their electron beam, their mass beam clashes into the atom, it could hit this fractal energy and cause it to spin opposite direction for a few nanoseconds, and it will fly off in the opposite direction because they've got sensors in it that detect when it passes through metal plating, I think it is, or is it gold or something? I don't know. I've got to have to look it up. But anyway, they can detect when the particles come off, and they have all these special charts. So when you start looking at science in a different way to what you can't get this image in your head of what they're telling you, it sort of opens up things, thinking outside the box. So soon they were looking for the Higgs boson. What do you call it? Particle charts. They call them particles, don't they? Particle accelerator. Didn't they have one where it disappeared and it come back? I think there was an experiment where the particle disappeared for a few nanoseconds and then it reappeared. Of course, they said it was entering another dimension, which is possible. If it's energy, though, it could quite easily enter into that what Tesla was talking about, the ether field, pop into it and then pop back out, you see. So you never know what they're going to discover by accident, but they just discovered that a particle, what was it, a neutron could actually go faster than the speed of light recently. So they're probably going to have to duplicate the experiments thousands of times, duplicate it. It's not the map I wanted. I wanted a particle map. But you can see it's quite a big, large ring they've built underground using magnets and, of course, a lot of power. We want to image graph or something. I don't know what it's called. But they have, I think that's like what they get. And they track the path in the field using software, of course, so they don't actually see it. So they call it the Large Hadron Collider. So if we looked at how does it work, LHC work. Oh, there was an image there before. That looked quite a good one. That was three-dimensional. Where's my... I'll go back. Just spotted it here. This one here. Where they smash it. And then they try and record all the fragments, which I think are just energy particles. So yeah, if they hit the particle and cause it to spin opposite direction, it'd be like taking the Earth and spinning it the other way. Of course, it's going to cause a bit of chaos and go off in a different direction. There has been cases where meteorites have hit planets and caused it to wobble, and I think Earth has a wobble from meteorite impacts. And if you get another big collision, this could easily change the direction it spins. So if you scale that down to an atom, where's my search gone? So I have to type it in again. See how it works. Unless I got the spelling wrong. LCH is something, by the looks of it. LHC. So it's a 27-kilometer ring of superconducting magnets with a number of accelerating structures to boost the energy of the particle along the way. Instead, inside this area, two high-energy particle beings travel at close to the speed of light before they are made to collide. But we want to know how it forms the charts. How the array works. I suppose it's quite technical. I wonder what the bit at the end's called though. I'm more interested in the detector. Now, electric and magnetic fields are key to a particle accelerator. We know that. Because protons are positively charged, they accelerate when the electric field is and bend and circle. So they're talking also calling it a charge, but I'm saying it may not be a charge. It's just like we don't actually see electrons flow. When they tell us electrons flow in a circuit, we don't actually see it happen. We don't know they flow. But they certainly, it does sort of move energy along. So they use all these terms, but they're just guessing still. I say positive and negative and all that is to do with how they spin. If you change how they spin, you can change effectively their charge and way it deflects. But how do they analyze it? So they're trying to detect dark matter with it. So if they smash a single atom apart, obviously it doesn't cause a nuclear reaction, but it causes a burst of energy, obviously. I guess it depends how many you have that you split apart. And because it's maintained in a magnetic field, the energy is absorbed, I guess, or redirected. So, yeah, none of them really tell us how the detection side works. It's horrible. The detectors include in their speed, mass, and charge. They can work out the particle's identity. I suppose if it doesn't fit the standard ones I've seen, that it's a new particle, I guess. But how do they measure it? I think it's done by, obviously, electrons, isn't it? So still haven't got the answer to it, because how they detect it is probably where a flaw exists that no one's thought about before. Now it's talking about losing energy here, passing through what? Most particles coming from collision, forcing them to deposit all of their energy within the detector. It's got to be some sort of electron detection, surely. Typically consists of layers of passive or sorbent high-density material, for example, lead, interleaved with layers of active medium such as solid lead glass, or liquid argon. So they see it as a gas pass through the glass or argon. Is that what they're saying? Electrocalorimeters measure the energy of electrons and photons as they interact with the electrically charged particles in matter. So they are using electrons and light, photons. Complicated stuff. So surely you're limited by the technology of detecting anyway. So you're limited to the size of electrons, surely, measuring electrons or photons. It's like trying to get an image of what an atom looks like in real time. This can't be done. Unless you get another particle that's the smallest that you can fire at it and sort of bounce off and gradually build up a 3D model, like a scanning 3D laser. What's this? Tracking devices. Class of electrically charged particles as they pass through and interact with suitable substances. So could they be wasting their time doing this, you know? You see what I mean? So I think that's basically what I was going to cover today anyway. That's about 3 hours long. Gives us some more ideas to bounce off there. Anyone on the side there still want to chat? Want to throw in a topic? Let's see, we got 3 watching. I think one of them is mine though, so it's 2 watching. Is there anything on the UFO side of things instead of the science side of things that you want to talk about? Let's close that one down. Normally I would probably do a look at MUFON stuff, but I'll probably do that next live stream. Probably could crazy. I know there's some other aliens that have been drawn from abductions, and not always been mantis and greys, but crazy looking aliens. Oh, we've got a website with them all on. So what's this one? UK Express. You take their stuff for a pinch of salt, I guess. Let's have a look. Aliens on Earth. And have we got some pictures of the aliens? This site always takes forever. Full of ads. So he's talking about hybrids, which is human hybrids. Hybrids, HUBRID is the word they use for that. 7 strangest alien encounters. 10 most crazy real alien encounters, YouTube. Before Roswell. Let's have a look at that one. I know there's been some strange looking ones, pointy ears and big eyes and robots. Let's talk about ancient alien ones. I wanted some drawings from abduction cases. Whereabouts was the list? Maybe we can bring up images. I want some from real abduction cases that are not alien greys and mantis. But we don't hear about these other strange ones that we've been getting. Hey, we got someone finally on side chat. What do you do? What do I do? What do you mean? This is a UFO channel? What am I doing? Well, I've covered a few topics tonight, from UFO frauds and UFO videos and what an atom could consist of, and large hadron collider, LHC. Yeah, you probably have to go back and watch it. So what have you got? Is that Chinese? From New Zealand, bottom of the world. So I was trying to find some of these strange alien cases. Where are you from? No to what? No, it's Chinese, Japanese. What's that? Mandarin? Have you seen a UFO or alien? Have you been abducted? Trying to find some of the old cases where they claim to see crazy shaped aliens. Weird looking aliens, maybe. You're from Korea. Okay, bye. Australian alien encounters. 7. I didn't know there was that many. I know the school one. What's that one called? Oh yeah, the plane one, where he claimed to see a UFO and disappeared, but they reckon they found his plane wreckage finally. So that case has been busted. He wasn't abducted by aliens, but doesn't mean he didn't see one crash, of course. So I don't know. Can't remember the full details on that one now. Yeah, that's the one. 1966 Westall sighting. That was the school one. Mount Gambier. Not heard of that one, I don't think. WA triangle. Western Australian. Perth folks get a little nervous a decade or so back when they spied via Google Earth a large triangle object in the desert near. So where's the picture? The Knowles family. So we got no picture. That's strange. I think that one was on that show. What's it called? What on Earth? Where they look at satellite images. I think they solved the triangle one, if I remember right. Strange saga. They found the Knowles family, 1988. Tiny outpost, Munbarala and the vast Nullarbor Desert. Three sons noticed a mysterious light emerging in the distance. Fled in the car and fear. The family later told police that the light being yanked the car into the air before plunging it to the ground. So that's the thing I've been trying to say, that the light being is not light as we know it. It's it might be using this other symmetry particle, or as I'm saying, particles are energy, that can be used to attract the atoms of the car and the being, just like a magnet, and pull it up. So if you think of everything as being a charge rather than thinking of it as energy that's rotating in a programmed, well, regular fashion, then it's quite obvious to have the opposite particle that sort of attracts it like a magnet. And it also could explain their light is different. You know, how you talk about people get a beam of light that sort of illuminates the whole bedroom, and yet no one outside even notices anything abnormal happening. You could have a cloaked UFO above the house with this beam of light that comes down that you don't see because it's using the opposite particle to our normal light, the photon. So it'd be the opposite symmetry. What do you call opposite of what do you call a negative photon? Well, it's not really negative, is it? Or whatever the symmetry particle is. What else they say there? I felt like my brain was being sucked out. So yes. So again, that sort of suggests that they're sort of all being lifted up in this field. That sort of makes sense to me. You know, I wouldn't dismiss that as being a faked case at all. Because to me it fits how I'm starting to see how science can be looked at. Kettering incident, Tasmania, Twin Peaks. Answer to Twin Peaks. What's this one? Was a prime UFO hotspot back in the 60s and 70s. 76, a man living outside the southern town of Kettering was woken by his young child before witnessing a plane fall into the shore of Little Oscar Cove, the area covered with a bright glow. Investigating in the nightgown, he claims to have seen an extraordinary humming dome-shaped object. So that's the other thing that you get with UFO sightings or abduction cases. They talk about this buzzing sound, which again relates to energy. You know, the energy being that they're using, and also the field they're using to block. What I was talking about last one was the radiant energy, which causes attraction between masses of objects. If you can control the flow of the radiant energy, you reduce the weight of the object. And obviously, if it's using high voltage, it's going to have a sort of like a buzzing, and also will have like a static charge as you fly under, if it flies over you. So it sort of all fits, you know, if you think about it. The Kelly Cashel Abduction. Now, this one's quite an interesting read, I guess. See if you can find more information on that yourselves. And I didn't realize there were so many cases. I had been talking to a woman a year or so ago from Australia, claims that her and his brother, I think it was, were traveling on a desert road in Australia when this UFO came down super fast and just hovered in front of their car as they were driving along in front of the car on the highway. And I said, well, you may have been abducted and not known about it. And she didn't really want to talk about it. So maybe she had missing time. So it kind of suggests maybe she was. So yeah, a lot of people, and she said she never reported it. You find this a lot. People don't like to report their cases because they're scared of being made fun of. Weird looking. Still trying to find a collection that someone has of all the different alien pictures to see how they changed over time. A lot of people think it's influence from subliminal messages from media. So the images of the creatures we saw from 1950 movies with robots and pointy heads and stuff were in early abduction reports or sighting reports to modern times where now we've got alien greys because that's everybody knows about them. So I don't know. Could that be true? Or could it be that there are a lot of different alien species out there that have visited Earth, and alien greys and mantis are the most common ones now, and maybe they're protecting Earth? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's good and bad alien greys. Good ones working with the US government, and the bad ones are abducting people. Who knows? There's a lot of theories thrown out there. But looks like I'm not going to be able to find any images. Not a site that has them all listed. I think I came across one a couple of streams ago, though. Weird abduction. It's probably time to wrap up anyway. Probably look at this another time. I know we've got what's it called? Flat wood monster, which was a strange looking one, and you got Pensacola, one with two men being abducted, which I was still meaning to work on the audio of that. Just hadn't found the time. It's going to take a few days probably to clean it up, if possible, because it was a terrible recording. Oh, that's a good. They effed you up. 8 terrifying alien abductions. I'm still trying to get Il from MUFON to come on to carry on doing some stories. He's been recruited into the Catherine, what's her name? Kathleen Madison is her name. Into the ET research team where they hypnotize people and document stuff. So he might be able to reveal some of those cases to us in time, hopefully. So have we got any photographs? No. That one kind of looks like an airship. Perhaps he was being kidnapped by the Fourth Reich or something. What year was that one? H.G. Wells. We talked about this guy in Australia. And 10 lives back, I think it was. I still haven't managed to find any pictures. It's strange, I found it before. Here we go. This one's got some. So that one is the Pascagoula one. Pascagoula humanoid. But only one of the witnesses saw its face. Somehow, I don't think that would be what they look like. What do you think on that one? I think maybe one of them saw it was a fuzzy image, and I think they were projecting some sort of energy at the brains and affecting what they were seeing. Who have we got here? Jamal, you're late. Where you been? Weather down here is pretty good. It's starting to warm up. Although the nights get a wee bit chilly. I was almost going to wrap up soon. I thought, I've been going since 10 o'clock. I thought you may have joined us for the chat, because we talked about a lot of science as well, and science theory and other ways to look at things tonight. And also we looked at some hoaxes, how to check for hoaxes. We went through the list here. Went through a list of how to check a UFO channel out that claim to be putting up UFOs all the time. People just don't do background research on people. Yeah, it's going to get really hot summer, I reckon. So what's the other aliens we've got here? Whitley Strieber Abduction. Now he's a strange one. See, a lot of people have doubts about that guy because he writes science fiction books. And he's the only one that talked about anal probe. I don't think any other real UFO case that's been researched has ever talked about being anal probed. So maybe these aliens were from planet Anal. Men in Black, they're not really creatures, but they could be. They could be robotic or humanoids of some sort with latex, how they do it in the movies now with the latex pull over masks. Because someone had sat with them on chairs and they said they had weird shaped ears and stuff and clammy skin and so where's ones with other aliens? So we only got 2 pictures on that one. Abducted couple surrounded by 10 aliens. That's quite a lot of aliens, because normally you hear about a couple of them, and possibly a mantis. Aliens on a flying saucer swooped in to snatch a couple of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, 1961. Just south, Betty and Barney claim to have seen a strange... Oh, what's happened there? So who's... well, I can understand she's quite pretty looking, why they might want to abduct her. But Betty wasn't exactly very pretty. Why would they want to abduct her? And he's no supermodel. I don't know. They seem to abduct strange-looking people, I think, most of the time. Or the ones we get to hear about, anyway. You watch some of my videos. Your dog is awesome. I am a Vincent Van Gogh fan. Appreciate your video with his paintings. Yeah, that's some of my older videos. So it's you that's been watching it. There's a lot to watch. Sort of adds up. And their lives are like 5 or 6 episodes rolled into one, because they're on so many different topics throughout the episode. And I just sort of link from one topic to another, as you can see. Keeps it interesting. And we always find out something new in the UFO subject. Hopefully I sort of get people thinking outside the box is my goal here. Yeah, not to just keep believing what we're told in science is real. Like I just talked about particles. Talking about positive and negative could actually be that the not actually particles at all, but fractal energy that rotates in a certain fashion, which to us appears to be like a positive charge. Of course, when it collides with another material and gives off energy, is absorbed, like electrons. We're just seeing an energy conversion where the fractal pattern is being interrupted. But yeah, I talk about some crazy theory stuff, and also talk about real stuff and crazy stories online here, trying to make sense of it all. So once upon a time, I didn't actually believe in UFO abductions. I thought maybe it was a mental problem, that everybody had mental problems. And, it might not be, like a normal mental problem where they go on a rampage and shoot people, but where the brain's affected by our own technology around us, like EMF fields, lights, and bedside clocks can emit quite a bit of EMF into the brain, and also phones can affect our dream state. But maybe it's all real, and the US government probably knows about it. But I don't hear much in New Zealand on UFOs, certainly not in Christchurch. And if people do get abducted, generally they probably don't want to talk about it as well. Oh, thanks, mate. I've got a few haters. You may have noticed that QVid doesn't join me anymore. He's the guy that introduced a lot of people to my voice chats, and I debunked one of the guys that he put on here. He was uploading stuff from known frauds, fake UFO stuff. And I don't allow those type of people on my channel because I'm trying to educate people about the frauds that are trying to run UFO channels and just put up clippings from news events and add their own logo to it and say, here's a clip talking about a new UFO sighting, but don't actually add their own debunking to it, where it turns out to be a bunch of seagulls that lit up by spotlights on buildings or whatever, or car lights on a mountain pass, which you may have seen that one. You could see one particular one, you could see the headlights as it was going around the bend even. And this guy was promoting this guy on his channel, which I didn't appreciate much. And I asked him to change it and remove it and stuff, and he refused, and instead he started attacking me. So yeah, these guys don't come on my channel anymore, but I've been getting a lot of troll. If you go back to episode 31, you can read all the abuse comments, and some of those have been removed, reported as spam, and it's ongoing. I bet I'll get a few more overnight. There's a lot of crazy Americans out there. That's all I can say. And the funniest, the people that are defending the other guy also have a UFO channel with a lot of crap. I shouldn't say that word. BS on their channel. So yeah, they're all claiming to be UFO truthers, but they haven't shown any integrity. If I put up a UFO and later out a video and confirmed that it looks legit or unknown, and later on I find out it's not, I simply would edit the title and say it's been debunked and put in the description why it's been debunked and put a new link to a video. That's how you act. That's how a proper UFO researcher would do it, So yeah, it just annoys me that all these people on YouTube messing up the UFO field, because there are some real good stuff out there that we don't hear about. A lot of it's hasn't got video, of course. A lot of these cases don't have video, like that African sighting where all the kids saw the same thing, but they drew pictures independently of all the same creatures and stuff. That's quite an interesting case, but no one took a video and photograph of that. A lot of the best stuff you don't get videos and photographs from. So yeah, so I'm sort of a bit tired now, mate, and I was just trying to find some pictures of some of these crazy aliens from some of the past sightings, but most of them tend to be these alien greys. I was saying in the 1950s, some were sort of robotics. So the only two really that sticks out as weird is the, what do you call it, the Blackwood Minster one. And it was kids that saw it. Of course, now they draw pictures, and of course, this story's everywhere. And in the UFO field, they keep repeating the same sort of stuff, but don't sort of add to it. To me, it looks like that picture looks like a nun, doesn't it? In a dress. Could have been someone playing a prank on him, even, eh? Kind of looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. Could they have been making up the story? I don't know. I think there's a lot more to it there. I see it's got folklore here. West Virginia folklore, also known as the Braxton County monster. So yeah, we don't know some of these early stories are fabricated or not. But I know UFOs are real. I don't know if they're alien or man-made, but I have a trusted friend that saw one in Germany lift up and hover in a forest while he's out back having a cigarette. And he said it's shot up directly at super high speed and blinked out into the night sky within a few seconds. Now, that's clearly back in 1990s wouldn't have been possible with human technology as we know it, and the G forces alone would kill the people inside by the sounds of it. So obviously it's got to be something extraterrestrial. Some could relate it to paranormal, but they said it looked like a classic silver craft and a solid craft, so it wasn't sort of like fuzzy light UFO that we tend to get to see. A lot of people suggested here that they saw a large owl on a tree. Has the same shaped face. Where they got the dress from? Could it be a bush underneath? Maybe they got scared by a moonlit owl on a branch or a bush that sort of looked like a dress. I don't know. I suppose you could debunk it that way. Blackwood's monster anyway. But I know there's a lot of books written on it. Probably someone to talk to on this case would be Bill from MUFON. Trying to get him on again. He's so tired. Yeah, yeah, it's a shame about the trolls and people that I thought were trustworthy. That's why my channel doesn't do so well, because I speak my mind and I point out stuff, but I try and do it in a way on the live streams so they can actually follow and do it themselves and debunk their own stuff. If you do it often enough, if you look at enough videos like MUFON case managers do, they get a feel for it, and they sort of debunk pretty much the 95% of stuff, and the good stuff, they pretty much leave it open. A lot of it turns out to be abduction cases. And of course, that one I talked about last time, was that last one? Or the one before, I can't quite remember now, but it was about the advertising blimp. That brings me why I'm bringing that up. I was meant to show you this here that you can get remote control blimp, believe it or not. See if I can find the video. And it looks just like the one in that video from MUFON. Fortunately, I had it all posted in a text file, not where the text file. But it may have got lost in a corrupted drive, and when I scanned disk it, I may have removed it. I could just paste it in when I was meant to be doing that topic, but I didn't notice the file was missing the controlled little blimp. They're quite big actually, as well. I suppose you could call it airship as well, I guess. Is that the one? Zeppelin. Nope, I don't think that was the one, but we'll have a look. But yeah, that guy, UFO man, he got really narky and nasty in PMs, and after I gave him the links to debunk some of the videos on his channel, I didn't look at all of them, and 2 days later I decided to do a live about it and to debunk it live on the stream, and he was demanding me take it down and make some look bad lights and all this, and I said I don't take threats, and I said I reviewed it under fair use. So I did an episode on that just to present what fair use is, because it seems that these people don't know themselves. You can use a full video as long as you use a lot of commentary on it and explain all the parts in it. That couple tried to get sued. Could it be this one here? But you can see if someone had that in the neighborhood and flew it around, it would catch out a few people, these blimps. There we go. This is it, I think. Oh, it's upside down. There you go. So it looks very similar to that one in the MUFON case. If that was lit up by the sun, it would shine bright white. You can see it's quite big. It's as big as a human. I wonder if you'd be willing to put it above the tree line, though. If you lose remote control, look how it can fly upside down, though. He's getting it quite high there. There we go. I bet it costs quite a few $1,000s, so you wouldn't want to smack it into a tree and damage it and lose it. But that's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind one of those to play around with. But I can imagine on a windy day, you're going to have a lot of trouble. I can see the trees here have some wind. They're moving in the background. But that wasn't the video I was looking for, but it's very similar. Because I was meant to show it on that one on the MUFON case that I did a couple of streams back. Yeah, also, has anyone upvoted my video yet? Because no one has. I suppose you can call it airshipper too, as well. Here's another one. You call it airship and the other one. So you probably find lots of videos like this. Oh, that's a fairly big one. They got it flying around as advertising inside a convention centre, by the looks of it. There's no reason why you couldn't put GPS on it and powerful motors on it, so you could always bring it back home, even in a gusty wind. Looks like German, is it? Nordic. But there's also ones called dolphins as well as sharks, so you can have it flying around convention centre. But they're meant to have artificial intelligence, so they won't bump into the walls and whatnot. That's pretty good. Obviously, there's not just white ones. They've got one here that's blue. I'll probably wrap up the thing. How long are we going for? 1:30. So it's quite a long episode, this one. So here's another one. So anything man can build pretty much is possible. Of course, because it uses helium, it's safe. It's an inert gas. So unlike the Germans that used hydrogen, which was a bad idea, killed off the airships. Imagine if they brought them back today. Instead of going on a passenger cruise ship, you could go on a modern day Zeppelin. That would be really cool, just flying across to America and that. But they can do all sorts of things because RC plane motors are very powerful, and you can fly anything like remote control witch. I've talked about that in past episodes too. Crazy things people build. Harry Potter and One did a phone book, I think. I opened it up. So this shows that it can be any. Someone did a toilet, but obviously it wasn't a real toilet. It was like a plastic fabrication of a toilet, but you can see here that they can build witches. But I think someone actually built a real size one using a real broom handle. As long as they got without having to use like a triangle for a wing. If it's powerful enough, you can sort of drive anything until the battery runs out or the fuel they use in the motor. You can see this one's old. It's a 4.3 coming up. Here you go. This one's not using a wing. You can see how big that one is. Can't see the motors on it. Yeah, it's quite big. Whoa, clumsy, but it's sort of working. You have to aim it upwards to. Yeah, it's not going to work so well. But if you can make it, you can fly it. I don't know what other ones there are. That one's been removed. Toilet, and what else have they done? Cars. You can even fly a car, I think. Not those ones, it's a remote control car, one flying car. Of course, people build little remote control flying UFOs as well. Here's one that might be a car. I'll reduce that one down. So they're using making it into a quad copter sort of thing. But that wasn't what I was looking for. Anyway, I just get a bit tired now, I guess. I know you can get flying monsters. Here's one here. What's that one? They put a normal car with a quad on it. Flying monsters. $500 kilometers per hour, big monster. Let's have a look at that one. Dragon, is it? It looks like a normal plane there. Don't know what they're talking about. It's not a monster. It's a big plane. But that's not really, really big. Anyway, just try different searches. You'll find them. This one, flying UFOs. Called flying UFO. Look at a little hand one. I see how that would fool people. Especially if you put light on it and fly it around at night time. thousand loon here. Look, definitely going to be spotted out night time. Oh yeah, so it looks kind of realistic. See if we can zoom in on it. So it's above the tree line now. So if someone saw that from afar, a neighbour filmed it. Oh look, there's a UFO. But because we can see it's pulsating the LEDs, that sort of gives it away as a LED toy. But if they turned that part of it off and just had white LEDs, I think it'd be a lot more believable. And of course, you can get even bigger ones. Imagine if Billy Meyer had something like that back in his time, huh? Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there, mate, and get to bed soon, I guess. Probably do another one midweek, in a couple of days' time, probably. Look at more UFO MUFON cases, no doubt. So I'm just going to wrap up there, mate, and catch you next time, perhaps next Sunday. You seem to come on Sundays. Yeah, so yep, that's right. So I'm just going to wind down my end credits and hit like and comment on the channel if you want, and even ask questions for next live stream or some subjects that we can look at. I may do it, you never know. So good night everybody, and thanks for watching, those that popped along, and thanks for liking and sharing it. Let's get the truth out there and see if we can actually find some real UFOs amongst all the noise.